Two love cats. One looking here and one looking there. Good kitties. Okay. And we shall go ahead and get started. Indeed. Let's go with standing at the top of the mat with your feet in between your blocks. Where's your block, Siri? Push your feet in around the block and then spread your toes away. So you're squeezing in, try to get an equalish pressure from the front to the back, and notice what happens when you change your weight to be a little bit more forward into the ball of your foot versus back into your heels, and you want to try to bind somewhere in the middle more or less as you squeeze in and push down evenly. From there, engage your inner thighs, engage your outer hips. Pull energy out of the ground, up through your legs and into your torso. You can have your hands in any position. Just try to open up across your shoulders and chest. Relax your shoulders away from your ears and simultaneously lift up the top of your head. Take a deep breath in, hold it in. Exhale slowly. Really linger at the end of your exhale so that all of your old air goes out. Then slowly breathe in. Hold it in when you get to the top. This time, open your mouth. Let it go. Inhale, lift both of your arms up overhead. Exhale your hands to the back of your head with your fingers interlaced. Send your elbows behind you, lift your chest up and lean your head into your palms for a moment. You're not trying to go into a back bend, so while you will engage your glutes and your hips and stay firmed up in your lower body, you're trying to isolate this stretch from the rib cage up and back. Try to keep it out of your low back. Just a little bit. Take a big breath in. On your exhale, pull your hands into your heart. Push your hips back till you reach the end of your hamstring mobility, and then you can go ahead and bend your knees deeply and forward fold. You can move the block out from between your feet if you have a block. If you want to put a block between your head and your legs to remind yourself to tuck your chin, that is a good place to put it too. Encourage yourself to tuck your chin sufficiently to round your cervical spine in with the rest of your spine. People have a hard time getting that deep spinal flexion. Take another big breath in. This time rock your weight a little forward into the ball of your foot, and you'll lift your head and chest up just enough so that you go from being in a rounded spine to being in a flat back, and you can use your block, or if you have whatever prop you have, you can use it to help keep yourself in a nice flat back position, neutral back position. Take a big breath in and get long through the top of your head. And on your exhale, you'll plant your hands down to the ground. Step your feet back, one then the other. Drop your knees down to the ground, one then the other. And take a second to warm up your wrists. So make some circles around your wrists, a few in one direction. And a trick that I like to do helps me to not dump into my wrists is imagine that I'm moving the ground underneath me rather than my shoulders are moving around my wrists. You can kind of go back and forth between those two mental paradigms and see if one gives you a better result than the other. And notice, similar like with any other joint in your body, if there is a nook or a cranny that is kinked up, a little bit stuck, linger there. Switch directions with your circles. Good. Okay, park it in the middle. Send your hands just a little forward of your shoulders, and then as you lean back forward, take your right foot to the outside of your right hand. You want your right inner thigh touching your rib cage, and you want to hug that in on purpose. It will help if you nestle your foot and your pinky finger on the right side actually to touch one another, so that you have multiple points of contact between the inside aspect of your right leg and the outside of your arm and body. Okay, so you'll stay in that position. You got about 90-degree angles going on in your front and your back leg. Then round your back down, tuck your tailbone down, look down for a cat spine while you keep that contact, and then up, cow. Back and forth a few times. You do not have to rush. If you have a more shallow breath, then just take 1 or 2 breaths in each shape rather than whipping back and forth between the two in a microsecond. All right, you'll stay in this orientation, all right, and you will send your hips back. But instead of sending your hips straight back, you'll send them back a little bit at a diagonal to compensate for the fact that your upper body is inside of your right leg. So send your right hip back to the right a little bit diagonally. Not extreme, just enough to give your hip space because your body is inside of your hip. A couple more times, loosen up the joint. You can take your front foot off of the ground by flexing your ankle some. You can turn your toes out. Notice how that changes the sensation. Good. Stay rocked forward on your inhale, and on your exhale, wing your right leg out to the right. You want your foot flat on the ground with your toes pointing forward. The outside edge of your foot is down, the arch of your foot is lifted, your inner thigh is lifted, and your quad is turned on, more or less, as best as possible. And everybody's got kind of different point where they're maximizing integration and stretch and activation, and you want to try to do that. So if your foot's not exactly the same, then that's fine. You just try to want to feel a stretch, but everything's also plugging in on that right side. Once you've kind of situated yourself in the shape that you like, then you'll cat and cow here. Tip your tailbone up in the back, inhale and look up, tuck your tailbone under and look down. Notice that there will be a tendency, work against the tendency, to sort of wiggle a little bit as you're moving. Try to keep this more or less front to back, cat to cow, extension to flexion, back bend to rounded spine. One more big breath in, look up. On your exhale, sit your hips backward. If you have a block, this is a great place to stick a block underneath your hips to catch yourself at a comfortable position so that you don't stress out your left knee. However, if you're comfortable going all the way back, almost like a child's pose, you're welcome to. This is the shape where if you want to explore this thigh rotation, knee rotation, ankle rotation, forward to backward, you're welcome to do that a little bit. You might get some feedback in your hip. Or you can just hold it static. We'll be here for about 3 more breaths. Okay, bring it back forward onto your hands and your left knee. Plant your right hand underneath you. Take your left arm out to the left. You want to feel the back of your left arm turn on. So it's out to the side like an airplane wing and lifting up to the ceiling. As you lift it up to the ceiling, press into your right hand and lift simultaneously. Look to the left. Now from here, try to feel the back of your left arm turn on, but don't go to the point where you're like straining to do it. So back off if you're straining. You just want to feel whatever you can, not straining. And then from there, wrap your arm underneath you and round your back. So now you're in that spinal flexion again, like cat spine, but you've curled under yourself, like you're rolling up a scroll, kind of, with your side body and your shoulder together. Take a big breath in, exhale, stack it back up as best as possible. Use the back of your shoulder. On your next breath out, underneath you, turn your chest on, feel your chest working and the back of your shoulder stretching. Back and forth, follow your own breath. Good. Last time, reach up, inhale, exhale, come on down with both of your hands directly underneath your shoulders. Slide your right leg straight back behind you with your toes tucked. And be pretty squared up here, square as you can be. Hands directly underneath your shoulders. You want your left knee directly underneath your left hip. Turn, kick through your heel, turn your outer right hip muscles on. And from here, float your right leg up, just in line. You want your pelvis to stay neutral, right? So you could come and put a full cup of tea on your hips in the back and it wouldn't spill. Really try to pin into your mind and your muscle memory that top position on your inhale. Slowly tap down on your exhale and just lift straight back up. Really slow and with control so that you can feel the integration of the muscles that are required to pull your right leg into your lumbopelvic hip complex. So your hip, your low back, and as it plugs into your torso, right? You want all that to be integrated, not just isolating one muscle and then the other. One breath in at the top, exhale, slide. All right, you're gonna slide your right leg behind you to the left. Your toes are tucked, your heel is still up. So that ankle is still like 90 degrees and square. Squeeze your 2 inner thighs together. So right inner thigh into left inner thigh. Keep that squeeze and then look over your left shoulder. You're making a big banana C curve with your spine to get a stretch anywhere along your right side and possibly also in the outside of your left hip. Slide your leg back a little bit and then drop your right knee to the outside of your left knee and sit your hips backward and then rock back forward, kind of all fours, right? So your knees, your inner thighs are squeezing, but you're not going to sit all the way down to the ground, you're sitting your hips backward. Be aware of your knee. You don't want to stress your knees out, you just want to go to where you're getting more of a stretch in your outer hip, back and forth a few times. Okay, come on up, cow, inhale, exhale, cat, inhale, cow, exhale, cat. Grab your block, or if you have a table or a couch or something in front of you, that's fine. Just use something out in front of you to bring yourself up a level. You can balance, that's fine, but this is a big stretch in the front of your legs. And slowly bring your hands back down, one level at a time. Open your knees wide apart, mat width distance. You can sit your hips back to child's pose, or you can stick a block to catch your hips, where whatever you need for your hip stretch. Hands out in front of you. If you want a little extra for your shoulders, grab a block, put it under your hands, and drop your head through your arms. We'll be here for about 5 breaths. Good. Come back forward with your hands a little bit in front of your shoulders. Slide your left foot forward. Now you're in that 90-90 lunge with your left leg forward. Take a second, really engage your inner thigh in to your rib cage. Slide your inner foot and your pinky finger into one another. Squeeze those pieces all in together. And once you have that set, inhale for cow and exhale for cat. All right, so keep the contact between your left side and your left leg. And you're gonna sit your hips backward and toward a half split. It doesn't have to be a full half split. You're kind of just loosening things up, back and forth. And remember, you're not going just straight back. You're actually going just a tiny bit diagonal to the left as you sit backward. If you want to flex your ankle and pick your toes up, if you want to keep your toes pointed as you go, if you want to turn your toes out to the left, you're welcome to do so. Just play around with what is getting all the aspects of your hamstrings awake. Take a big breath in, and on your exhale, slide your left leg out to the left. Your hands are going to come back underneath you, directly underneath your shoulders, and directly out to the left. All right, take a second, get your foot flat, pull the arch of your foot up, pull your inner thigh up and in, and engage that quad, all right? Once you do, cat and cow, couple rounds. Okay, sit backward. If you're already kind of at your limit with this stretch, and some people will get there quicker than others, then you don't have to go backward, but you're welcome to go backward toward child's pose. And this is where, if you want to play around with that hip rotation, you can take that left leg and scrub it through internal and external rotation. Good, come on forward. Keep your left leg out to the left. Plant your hands back down underneath you. Press down hard through your left arm. Reach up through your right arm. Feel the back of your right shoulder turn on your inhale. Exhale, wrap underneath you and push to the left. Turn on your chest on the right side. Then inhale up, back of shoulder. Exhale under chest a couple times. Good, plant both of your hands down. You'll take your left leg directly back behind you to just neutral, toes tucked down. Take a second, get very squared up with everything, and then inhale and engage to lift your leg up just to the top of the hip. Again, you're looking for very, very neutral pelvis, like a tabletop. Engage, engage, engage. Keep that engagement. Take a big breath in, then slowly tap down and come just right back to that top position a few times. The next time you lift up, stay up, inhale, and then slide your leg across to the right. Squeeze your inner thighs together, kick through your heel, and look over your right shoulder. Keep the squeeze. Exhale, drop your left knee to the outside of your right knee. Sit your hips backward-ish, and then come back forward and come back and forth a few times. Stay forward on your knees and your two hands underneath your shoulders. Cat and cow a couple times. And then grab your block, your prop, or something that's out in front of you. Even a wall could suffice. Bring your upper body up a level slowly so that you are opening as best as possible through the front of your hips. Exhale to return your hands down one level at a time. And untwist your legs, sit your knees wide, sit your hips back. Child's pose, take your block if you want it. Downward facing dog, make your way up. You can take your down dog as wide as you need to, as short as you need to get a good stretch in the back of your legs and to make sure that your shoulders are really able to be pressed out. Inhale, gaze to the top of your mat. Exhale, step yourself forward between your hands. Deeply bend your knees, round your spine around your legs. Roll up to stand slowly. When you get to the top, lift both of your arms up overhead. Reach up and look up. Keep pressing your palms together and keep looking up. Keep pressing your feet down and reaching your fingertips up. Keep breathing. Next, exhale, pull your hands into your heart. Push your hips back. Deeply bend your knees, forward fold. Halfway lift on your inhale and hang out here. Breathe. Feel the muscles at your hip crease working. Feel your glutes working and feel your weight shift out of your heels and into your forefoot. Plant your hands, step back plank pose. Hold and breathe plank. You can always drop your knees down and do a modified plank or even come back into tabletop position if you need to. We're here for 4 more breaths, 5 breaths total. Keep lifting your chest up and rounding your upper back. Scoop your tailbone down. Keep your legs in. Really squeeze together. Reach back through your heels and forward through the top of your head. One more big breath in. Exhale, look a little forward. Slowly lower yourself down to the ground. Untuck your toes. Roll your shoulders onto your back and pin your inner elbows in very close to your body. Kind of like what you did with your legs into your rib cage. You want your inner arms very much squeezing in around your rib cage. Then squeeze your butt muscles until your kneecaps, till your quads are so engaged that your kneecaps lift up off the ground. From there, lift your head up off the ground for cobra. Stay here and breathe and focus on shifting the engagement out of your low back into your legs and into your upper back. It's hard for me to do when I'm talking, so I'm just going to shut up and breathe. About 5 breaths. Press back to child's pose. Take a big breath in your child's pose. And on your exhale, downward facing dog, lift up and back. Inhale, look forward. Exhale, step yourself up between your hands. Bend your knees, forward fold. Roll up to stand. Inhale when you get to the top. With your palms together, press your palms in, keep reaching up to the ceiling, keep your legs active, glutes active. One more big breath in. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands, step to plank pose. Stack your shoulders over your wrists, press down, lift your chest up. One more big breath in. Exhale to lower. Untuck your toes, roll your shoulders on your back, press your hips down and engage your glutes and your legs. Cobra pose, 3 breaths. And use your exhale to press back child's pose. 1 breath in child's pose. Exhale into downward facing dog. Inhale for downward facing dog. Look forward, exhale, step yourself forward, fold over your legs, bend your knees, round your spine. Inhale, roll up to stand, reach your arms up. Look up. Exhale your hands to your heart, push your hips back. Bend your knees deeply, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands, plank, step it back. 1 breath in plank, inhale. Exhale to lower. Cobra pose on your inhale. Child's pose on your exhale. Downward facing dog, lift up and back. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, step yourself forward, fold over your legs. Keep your hips low, lift your upper body up. Reach your arms up on your inhale. Exhale your hands to your heart and actually push your palms into each other. Then prop yourself up onto your right toes. Okay? Gonna stay crouched down. Take your left hand to your left hip and your right hand to the top of your right thigh. And you're gonna keep even pressure on your right leg and lift up a little bit and bring your right leg with you. Keep bringing your right leg with you until you're standing. I'm wearing all black. Blends right into the background. But come on up to a 90-degree angle with pressure down and resistance up. Then take your fingers to your inner thigh and spiral your hip open, external rotation, and then bring it back to neutral. Take your hands to the outside of your right leg to layer your heel out. Use your thumb to tip your quadricep muscle in, all right? And then we'll go external, internal, external, internal, external, internal. Step it down, reach your arms up, breathe in. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair. Exhale your hands to your heart, press your palms into each other, and prop yourself up on your left toes. Slide your left hand to the top of your thigh and your right hand to your right hip. Pressure down as you slowly start to unhinge and bring your leg with you up to standing. Now you're at a 90-degree angle. Take your fingers to the inside of your left leg, external. You're going to use your hand to move the muscle, external, back to neutral, flare out to the left, Your thighs rolling in, internal rotation. Bring it back to neutral, external, internal, back, and forth. And because my hand is here, and because I am wearing all black and there's good contrast, you can see that I'm not shifting my pelvis in order to make that happen, which is actually pretty useful. Okay? Stand it down, inhale both arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Chair pose, inhale. Exhale your hands to your heart. Press in, breathe in. Exhale your left hand to your left hip, your right hand to the top of your right thigh. Stand up, unhinge with it. Externally rotate. Hook your right ankle over your left knee, anywhere up above. Right? Take your hand, you're going to keep opening your thigh, open to the right. And then you just hang out. Hands wherever you need them in order to be stable. And this hinge is wherever you need it to be in order to get that good external rotation, right? Because you saw, perhaps, that my leg started here and I helped it open more, which would not necessarily be the case if I kept on dropping my spine lower and lower into better hip flexion. Maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't, right? So you gotta find the level that works for you. And then we'll come on up, stand it down, inhale both arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose. Take your right hand to your right hip and your left hand onto your left thigh with your toes down, heel up. A little bit of a hinge happening because you're in your chair. You're gonna unhinge up to 90 degrees. Externally rotate. Hook your left ankle over your right leg. And then externally rotate your left leg. And you stop where you need to maximize balance and that external rotation. Don't push on the knee. Make sure you're doing it up at the thigh. Good. Slowly come on up. Stand down. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Hinge forward. Fold over your legs. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, plant your hands, step your left leg to the back of the mat, drop your left knee down and untuck your left toes. Try to get your left knee behind your hip, right? I'm not squared up. Now I'm even less squared up. Go for that if you can. Let your head just go. This time, instead of your upper body being inside of your right leg, you are laying right on top of your right leg. Just let your head go, like you're kissing your own knee. Okay, bring your upper body up. Move your right hand to the inside of your right leg. You're gonna walk all the way around to the back. Drop your right knee down. Step your left leg up. Frame your left leg. Bump your right knee backward. And do the same thing now over your left leg. Inhale, lift your gaze. On your exhale, you'll start to shift your hips backward and you'll need to shimmy, all right? Get your right knee right underneath you. You're gonna sit backward and down to your right hip and then plant your left foot. All right, you're sitting up for a seated Matsyendrasana, I can't even remember. Seated fish, all right? There's a couple different fishes. And again, I'm wearing all black. So this leg is bent. My right leg is bent. My knee is more or less pointing forward. My heel is to the outside of my hip on the left side. I'm going to take my left leg and plant my foot down outside of my right knee with my toes more or less pointing forward-ish. And then I have to kind of push my big toe down toward the ground in order for it to actually reach. Now, when I do that, my left butt cheek wants to come up off of the ground. So you got to make sure you sit it back down. And then we're not actually going to fully twist it yet. What I want you to do is I want you to hold your left shin with your right hand and take your left thumb into your left thumb crease. And you might even need to shift things around a little bit to get your thumb in there. My thumb is in the front of my hip where when I bend my leg, my pants crease up. Okay, hip is down, right hand is on my shin, and now I'm gonna pull the inner thigh of my left leg into my chest. And if that's feeling okay, my hip is down, my thumb is not really adding anything on the left side to the equation, then I can wrap both arms around, and specifically you want to be pulling the inner thigh into your chest rather than the top of your thigh into your chest. So play around with that for a little bit. See if you can get some sensation in the outside of your hip, your piriformis area. Sit up tight with it. Twist your body around your leg with it. Notice any sensations, breathe into it. And once that's feeling all right, you can put your foot back down. Stay hugged in. This time, there might be a little bit more of a gap. And you're just gonna hold with your right arm, put your left hand behind you, lift your chest up tall, roll your left shoulder on your back, and turn your chin to your left shoulder for your twist. You can also look over your right shoulder. I like to do that. I think it's actually a little kinder for my neck. Between my neck and my shoulders often getting tight, I have to be careful of deeper cervical spine twists, but I don't overdo it with like my traps. Okay, release, lean back, switch out, bring your left leg to a bend. You're leaning onto your left hip is down, your left knee is bending, and you're working your butt back down, right hip down to the ground. From there, you're gonna plant your right foot to the outside of your left knee. Take a second with it, hold your right shin with your left hand. Take your right thumb into your right hip crease, push down, move the flesh around, and then slide that inner thigh into your chest. Get a lot more on this side than I did on the other side. And that's common for there to be a tighter side and a looser side. So however that shakes down for you, just make a mental note. Because those imbalances can come into play. You might not have discomfort or pain directly related to this stretch that's happening right now, but you might have something up the stream or down the stream of movement that is related. Okay, put it down, plant your foot down. Now just hook with your left elbow, lift your spine up nice and tall, and plant your right hand behind you, twist, and either look to the right or look to the left. Good, release, center, lean to the left, take your right leg behind you so that your front leg is bending and your left leg is, your front leg and your back leg are both bending. I don't know what shape, I mean, I call this stag legs, cheerleader legs, whatever, okay? Twist to the right. Doesn't super duper matter where you put your hands here. It's sort of a counter open twist. Take a big breath into your left shoulder, your left lats, your left ribs, and then exhale across. This time, as you do, you'll take your right inner thigh and you'll internally rotate it, just for activation purposes. Lift your chest up on your inhale. Feel your outer hip on the right side turn on. And then exhale, bring your body to the middle, facing straight forward. If your left knee is in front of your chest, you're going to want to move it wider so that it's outside of your rib cage. Frame your left leg with your hands. Hinge yourself forward, in and out a few times. And once you're comfortable with that hinge and you know that nothing's catching in your hip, you can lean yourself as far forward as feels good. If you want to send that right leg backward or pigeon, more so, pigeon proper you can. But if you've never really gotten into pigeon fully, you can keep that back leg bending to whatever degree works for you, as long as you keep this left hip down and this left knee comfortable. It's much easier to keep your knee comfortable starting like this. If you have a block and you want to stick it under your head, you can. Try to reach your arms forward. That's going to give you a lot more feedback as to what's going on in the shape. A lot of people will stay a little bit cockeyed with the right side up, higher than the left side. That's indication that something's tight. You want to lean your right side lower so that it's flush with your left side. At all stages, your right side being higher is an indication that you need to just either backtrack or hang out where you are and work to get the right ribs down. Good. Slide your hands underneath your shoulders and lift your upper body up. Lean to the left. Bring your right leg out in front of you. Your left foot is to your right inner thigh. You're sandwiching the two together. Frame your right leg. Slide your upper body hinging forward, in and out over that right leg a few times. Find where you get a stretch in the low back on your left side and stay, and just let your head go. You can keep crawling your hands forward when you can. Likewise, There will be a torso rotation. Your left side will want to be higher than your right side here. Drop your left side down. When your left side wants to be higher, that is an indication that something is tight, and you either backtrack or hang out where you are in order to work on that rotation, as well as the hinge, hamstring stretch, and all the other things that are going on. All right, come on up, and you'll flip flop to the other side. Bring your right foot to your left inner thigh. Rotate so that you're framing your left leg with both hands. Hinge in and out a couple of times. Find where you get a right low back stretch. Stay there and let your head go. You are welcome to incorporate props anywhere here to hold your head, or if your knee really wants to be bent, hold the back of your leg. Those are both really good prop options. Proptions. Work to rotate your right side down in line with your left side. Good, unhinge, come up, lean to the right, bend your left leg, inhale your arms up and twist to the left. Breathe into your right side. Exhale through center, twist to the right. You're internally rotating that left leg now. Exhale to the center. Make sure your right knee is outside of your rib cage. Frame your right leg. Hinge straight forward a couple of times over your right leg. And when you get the all clear from your hip, or wherever level you get the all clear from your hip, hang out, prop yourself up if you need to. It feels good to slide that left leg back and rotate it to be neutral. Same kind of neutral that we did from all fours with your legs straight back. That's what you're looking for here too. Lay yourself all the way down, work to square your left side down with your right side, work toward getting your arms out in front of you, hang out and breathe. Come on up. This time, just extend your left leg out to the front of your mat, and then your right leg, lay yourself onto your back. And you have a couple of options for how you can take the reclined shape. You can stick a block under your hips, under your sacrum, specifically not under your low back, and extend your legs long one than the other, or just one at a time. You can block or no block, twist. I like to have a block between my knees so that my femur doesn't go weird in my hip capsule. And once you get your hip set, the opposite arm goes out to the side. We kind of did all of these things more actively, but if any of them feel good, you're welcome to do that, or a happy baby. Or just slide straight into Shavasana. We've got about 5 more breaths. Pardon me, ma'am. You're not already there. Lay yourself out flat. Try to move not at all, except for your breathing and your heart. As it feels good, you can bring a little bit of movement back in. Maybe let your head fall side to side. Blink your eyes open and closed a few times. Maybe use a good morning stretch or the fetal position to one side or the other on your way up to a comfortable seat. Take a moment to notice how you're feeling. Focus your energy where you want to assess. Maybe it's all over, maybe it's just in your hips, maybe it's in your shoulders. Just take a moment to notice any shifts and changes that have happened, and try to find one moment, one thing that you did that you can celebrate, either just because, hey, you showed up and you did the thing, or maybe it was something that you found really functional or that felt really good. Exhale all of your old air out very slowly. Breathe in deeply through your nose, hold it in as your lungs get full. Open up, let it go. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See you in the den.